And Weave is a company that you can start with at one location and you can scale to 5 locations and they're going to grow right there with you. If you're trying to take one location, that's your primary location, and you're trying to multiply the systems and processes and do the same thing in the second location, do the same thing in the third location, what you're doing is you potentially are multiplying headaches. What we have done that's different is if you can take as much stuff away from the peripheral offices and centralize it, what that allows you to do is that allows you to create an efficient system centrally and then take minimal things that you do with the other locations. And what that does then is that's power of scale. So then if you have 3 locations to 5 locations, it's kind of like the joke that parents will say, 2 to 3 kids, brutal. 3 to 4, you're in zone defense. 5, not a big deal. There's not as big of a difference. And so if you're really wanting to scale and you've got 2 locations now, what you should be thinking is, what does it look like to centralize? Like we can centralize, that's what I love about the e-faxing. That's what I love about the phone calls. We've got one phone number for all 5 locations and it goes to a central communication specialist. So what I'm also able to do is scale down employees and put them where they're the most efficient. So I get the most revenue per hour out of that employee by putting them in the right space. For instance, somebody goes to 5 locations, you'd think, well, that's 5 receptionists. But if you start thinking and say, well, maybe we don't need a receptionist, we can take a couple of those people, have a check-in kiosk, and use those 3 people at 3 locations to be our incoming communication specialist to where everything is routed to them. Now all of a sudden, when you go to the next office is going to be a little bit easier. You got a kiosk check-in, don't have to hire anybody for that. You got a clinic, you got 2 rooms, you're seeing the patients, you're putting on the frame boards. All 80-90% of our frame boards are consignment, and so I work with a group that allows us to start a new location on not a whole lot of money down payment in the optical space. So what that allows for is that allows for scaling, that allows for quicker profitability, and that allows for helping more patients and growing more in a sound way that's not leveraging. So what you're doing is you're compounding your profits. All of our e-faxes, when we have one number, it all comes to one spot, and for all 5 locations. So somebody can process that. Instead of having 5 people at 5 different locations processing those fax, I have one person. They're going to be more efficient if they're processing all those faxes in one setting than delegating it to a bunch of other people. I love Weave because they're thinking about what's next. What's next? If you're at 1 location or 2 locations and you're looking to scale, you want to scale with the right partners, because it's very difficult if you scale and you haven't done your homework to begin with, and you have to make decisions or change along the way with your companies. And Weave is a company that you can start with at 1 location and you can scale to 5 locations and they're going to grow right there with you. And I said that's extremely important because we could go to 10 locations and the functionality of Weave is going to allow us to continue to do that.